Hi, welcome to Record Time. I'm actually running several minutes late today as I was stuck in traffic. So I apologize for the delay. I'm eager to just jump right in. I feel a lot of energy that's going along with this message, so if you wish to, take a moment to make yourself open and available to the energetic aspect that goes along with the verbal transmission. The energetic transmission from the Akashic Records that goes with the verbal transmission of the Akashic Records. Today's question is, what do we do when someone is angry at us? When someone we care about is angry at us? That's the question I am posing to the Akashic Records. And so we'll see what they say. So I asked, what do we do when someone we care about is angry at us? And the masters, teachers, and loved ones are saying, are they actually angry at you? So in that situation, if ever... Okay, I'll give this some context. So if you are a people pleaser like I am, if someone ever expresses even slight upset to you, it can feel so intense. It can feel like such an intense problem if someone ever expresses like the slightest bit of discontentment towards you. And so they're saying in this situation, when you feel like someone is angry at you, the first thing to ask yourself is, are they actually angry at you or are they not? Have they expressed, have they said explicitly, I am angry at you? Or did they not? Because if they haven't, then you might be projecting your own fears and insecurities onto the situation or conversation. What feels like a confrontation to you, an aggressive confrontation, or what feels like a display of anger towards you, might not be that at all. They might not be angry at you at all. You might just be allowing your insecurity, your fear of being disliked, to just rise up, shoot straight up to the surface, and then project onto the situation. If they haven't explicitly said or made it really, truly 100% clear that they're mad at you, then you can't be sure that they're actually mad at you. It's very possible that they're not mad at you, and there is no problem at all. And if they are mad at you, if they are blaming you for something, or if they are upset and expressing their discontentment to you, are you being too quick to pick up the blame and place it on yourself? Someone expressing their discontentment is not the same as blame. Just because someone is angry doesn't mean you did something wrong. Just because someone is angry at you doesn't mean you did something wrong. And this is an interesting topic, and I can feel like this wave of peace washing over me as those phrases, those sentiments, those messages come through, because that feels so radically different from how I relate to these kinds of situations. When someone is angry, I immediately feel like I did something wrong. And when someone is expressing anger at me, I am even quicker to just carry that blame and internalize it deeply. And they're saying you don't need to do that. And it's interesting. It's an interesting quality of certain people. They're like showing me a spectrum. They're like, at one extreme end are people who could be getting yelled at, berated, disparaged, and they would never take the blame even if they're at fault. And on the other end of the spectrum is the person that is not even getting yelled at and is quick to take on a blame that doesn't exist, that doesn't pertain to them. And they're just saying it's an interesting thing. And both of these extreme ways of relating to external anger being directed at you, both of these ways of relating to blame are distortions. You're saying neither of them is grounded in reality, neither of them is grounded in truth. There are occasions where you may have done something wrong, and taking accountability, not necessarily taking the blame, but being accountable, holding yourself accountable for something that may have gone awry, that's one thing. But to just assume the blame for something that may not have even occurred, that may not have anything to do with you, that's also a distortion, and that's not the healthiest way to relate to blame. It can cause a lot of stress if that's the way that you relate to blame, and if that's the way that you respond or actually react to other people's discontentment. And they're saying it's kind of a codependent behavior. It's a need to make everything right when someone else is experiencing discontentment. It's taking on their discontentment as your own and making it your problem when it's not always the case. So it feels like there's a lot more here, but let me feel into it a little bit more. If you're, they're saying if you're really into self-development, or if you can tend to be a little anxious or a little neurotic, you might tend to also take on a blame that is not actually yours to take on. So they're asking you to be mindful, because if the goal is to be self-aware, then to take on a blame that isn't yours is not awareness, that's distortion. So they're saying for someone who wants to be self-aware and who wants to be grounded in reality and is wanting to observe the way that they respond and react to things in order to improve themselves, being reactive to take on the blame, like if your way of reacting is to just take the blame anytime anyone is angry, that's not self-awareness, and that's not doing anyone any favors. That's just playing into a distorted reality. So it's just something to be aware of, is what they're saying. And really, they're saying this should be good news. It feels really heavy because no one likes to be yelled at. No one I know likes to be yelled at. Maybe you do, I don't know. But nobody I know likes to be yelled at. I really don't like it when anyone is angry at me for any reason. But if you find yourself in that kind of predicament, absolutely observe the situation and see what is actually happening. Try to get a wider perspective of the actual situation and notice, did I actually do something that I need to take accountability for, or did I not? And that's not saying invalidate what the other person is saying, but it's saying rather understand where they're coming from. Where is their anger coming from? Is it actually rooted in something that you did? Or is it rooted in something else? Are they actually angry at you, or are they not? Just because they're expressing anger doesn't mean you did something wrong. Just things to think about. That was certainly an interesting perspective for me, and I appreciated that. Because needless to say, this topic came up because someone was angry at me today, and I don't generally handle that very well. It makes me, it like just brings up a surge of emotions and panic actually when anyone is expressing any kind of upset towards me. So that's a fun fact about me, and that's a fun perspective from the Akashic Records that hopefully will serve you in case you're also quick to take on blame that isn't necessarily yours to take on. Alrighty. This was an interesting one. That is all for today. And let me know if that resonated with you and if that's something that you experience. If you're a people pleaser, maybe this is also part of that people pleasing experience for you. So I'd love to know if this is something that you experience and if this resonated and what you thought of this message. So yeah, feel free to leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you in the comments, or you can send me a message either on Instagram or on my website, minaruchi.com. Alrighty, I'm wishing you a beautiful week. Namaste.